They risked their lives night after night during World War II, but when a memorial to Bomber Command was being unveiled in London, albeit 60 years late, some of those veterans were denied the trip to be part of it. While our government flew the survivors of the New Zealand squadron to London, other RAF veterans who have moved here and are now New Zealand citizens missed out. Our government wouldn't pay for them, neither would the British. Their last chance for their bravery to be honoured seemed lost, until a fairy godfather decided to step in. Jill Higgins has their story.
We were 18-year-olds and we're indestructible. It was all a game until we did our first operation.
Almost a suicide job. 50% of them lost each raid.
It was just a survival from trip to trip.
This is their moment to remember.
The continual searchlights, the anti-aircraft fire. The nerves were constantly on edge.
From battle skies to grey skies. A time to pay tribute.
All the friends that I'd lost, and I lost quite a lot, yeah.
To stay with these people, and their son had been in the RAF, and it was in the same time, Johnny RAF, the same time as I did, in 1938. His name's on that memorial.
So you'll be thinking of him?
Yeah, for my mates at 75 Squadron.
It's a moment so important, but one that so nearly didn't happen.
Always disappointed, though, that when the war came to an end, Winston Churchill never mentioned Bomber Command. Politically, after the war, nobody wanted to come up with the fact that they'd said that saturation bombing.
There was devastation, but they were following orders.
That's all part of war anyway. Germans were doing it to us. And I felt as though when an op was over, that I'd done something pretty useful towards ending the war.
The hurtful oversight was put right this year with a memorial in central London. The New Zealand government flew its veterans to see it.
Unfortunately, because we didn't have a Royal New Zealand Air Force number, we weren't allowed to come.
The expats just got on with life. Des and Harry restoring planes at Motat in Auckland, Doug writing his memoirs, until each had a call to say,
"You've got a fairy godfather that's going to see that you get to see this memorial."
I was inspired by the stories of the men, and to see that they were missing out on one last mission, I thought, well, this is something I can do.
A lot of people would have been inspired by their stories, but not everyone would have said, well, I'll pay for you to go.
Well, I'm fortunate. My business has gone well. We've celebrating our 10 years in business and wanting to do a few things to mark that. And this seemed like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
it's incredible they're even here to go on the trip. As young men, they all had close calls, 2 taking direct hits.
Huge flag, a blowtorch effect. I had to turn around.
He jumped out over Germany.
There I was floating down in this parachute. What the hell have I done?
The fire was put out and the rest of his crew flew home. Doug was captured.
I felt like a schoolboy that had done something naughty, and
Harry's plane did get shot down.
Every moment of it I remember. I remember the cannon shell hitting the aircraft, I remember going into a dive, and I remember jumping out.
He landed in occupied France, moved around by the French resistance.
13 weeks and my mother didn't know I was alive.
What about the rest of your crew?
They got taken prisoner and the navigator was killed.
Years on, friends and family gather as they find out about their trip.
The fact that they've been recognised and so many people have turned out to see them, I think, makes a big difference to them.
Certainly I never expected anything as lovely as this coming up. This was a real surprise.
And off they go.
We're an old group, but we're struggling along.
Did you think you would go back again?
No, I didn't actually.
Ian Cooperus made it a trip to remember. Visits to museums.
How many bombs can it carry?
Memorials and airfields.
This is a Mercury, it's smaller than a Peggy.
And a ride on a Lancaster bomber lovingly maintained by 2 brothers.
Be a hell of a job to get back.
Oh, the joints.
And those are the pressure gauges.
They should have brown bezels, shouldn't they?
I never thought I'd seen the day when I'd be in the Lancaster with my wife.
We've been very honoured for you to come to see us today. We think a lot of you, what you've done. I'm pleased you come to see the Lancaster engines running.
I felt it right in here, all the revs, you know, and it really moved me, because it's a long time since I felt that. Gotcha.
It's the first time they felt truly, officially remembered.
We've got one for of our own now, haven't we?
They're very grateful to the man who made it happen.
I don't care how deep his pockets are. One thing, the man worked for it, and two, he's being enormously generous.
A last moment to remember a German friend.
Talking, laughing with her, and think that I could have killed her with one of those bombs. War is so stupid.
And to remember how those war years felt.
They all look like we looked after finishing an operation, absolutely worn out. Final indication that Bomber Command took an active part in the war.
Wasn't that fantastic of them? Look, we'd like to thank Ian Cooperis from Tax Management too. Imagine that, tax guy with a heart, because he also enabled reporter Jill Higgins to accompany the veterans on their trip and to record their experiences. After the break,